Hi everyone, it's Kasia from Tarot Map, and I just watched yesterday the amazing Kelly and Maddox video on my tarot, my darkness, and the shadow cards in tarot decks, and which cards are shadowy for us, and how can we be mindful of that, and how through this mindfulness we don't project our things and our own associations and feelings about the cards onto the client if you read professionally. And I found it very inspiring, and I thought, oh, I want to like really think about it and see what what cards come up for me. And I had a few in mind for sure, but when I went through the decks, I thought, oh, okay, there's quite a few more. And obviously, that changes. The older we grow, the more we work on ourselves, the more we are aware of our actions and of our shadows, the less maybe unconscious this projection is. But I still think it's a very valid point to really make sure that you are aware when you can project, because that can happen, sometimes really subconsciously, and you can still add a lot of your personal meanings to the cards. And what Kelly and Maddox was stressing, it's when you're a professional reader, it's very important to know and not to overshadow the card with your own personal view on it. I think I will start with some of the good cards, because I thought these cards tie with my personal kind of issue or life. So I couldn't have children, and also, as Kelly and Maddox said, the Empress was kind of annoying for me, not only because she was a like mother archetype, but also because she was so like unmovable and so like inactive in a way, even though it's a 3, it's a creative active number. But how she was always portrayed, I just didn't kind of find her very inspiring. And I had to go through a lot of self-empowerment to actually, enjoy those moments when you can just fucking sit on the throne and smell and be happy. And the 10 of Cups, so this is the Empress from Spanish Tarot, and this is an Empress from Golden Tarot by Cat Black. So it's obvious with the baby and stuff like this, little rabbits multiplying many folds and so on and so forth. So this was kind of something which I had to come to terms with. Also, the 10 of Cups, how it's portrayed. It's not a particularly beautiful image for me. I much more prefer when I again came to terms with it. I really appreciate it, happy family, wonderful. But for people who have no families, this card can also bring up some other stuff, If it was just like these two people praising the rainbows, great, but you do have these kids. And I know of heaps of people who couldn't have kids or don't want to have kids, and they just decided not to. So I guess looking at image like this, it's not really something we resonate with so much as the epiphany of happiness and joy. So I quite like the image from AnnaK Tarot when sorry, dropped, where she just shows this fulfillment, because this card is about a fulfillment of such. So because Cups are often associated with spirituality and with feelings and with emotions. So obviously we do feel fulfilled when we have our own family, and when we can feel supported and give and receive and so on and so forth. But she has this beautiful face where she's just in the middle of the circle of those cups, and she seems so peaceful and blissful, and the background, it's so sunny and beautiful. So I kind of resonate with this card, and had to really throughout my life get to like and appreciate this depiction of 10 of Cups. Maybe that's why I kind of feel drawn to Marseille decks, because yeah, you don't get this whole twist in it. You just have 10 cups and, do with it whatever you want. Another one of those is 10 of coins. But this one I probably had lesser shadow response than this one, because this is like a generational family, and I enjoy it and I can really appreciate it. And I can see in it, like, my own family, my sister, her children, my grandmothers, my grandfathers. So stuff like this, something which was lasting for a long time in the material reality, and also the Kabbalistic tree of life. So it has a lot more associations to me than the 10 of cups. So this one maybe is not such a shadowy card, but I just wanted to bring it up, that also it's this, the traditional kind of view on material stability, like a big house, dog, car. So if you're not in this type of mentality, you kind of can miss out on the beauty of this card. Another one which I really struggled with is definitely the high priest right now, or the hierophant, or the pope. So right now, this is, if you watch my channel, this is one of my favorite cards. But I have been brought up Catholic, and I live in Poland, which is a very Catholic country. And as much as I appreciate a lot of what came up with my bringing up, and conditioning, a lot of it's really very harmful to the spirit, and to I think to respectful view on human being. And this is also strongly connected to my personal life. So this card was in the shadow for a very long time, until, as Kelly and Maddox said, because she actually mentioned the Pope, which represented to her also like a religious institution and all of this, until I saw in the Pope also this guide, and teacher, and someone who can actually be backed by some kind of tradition. That's why I actually, I love traditional tarot decks, and I think of myself now as a tarot teacher. And I want to go into this direction with the Pope. I started appreciating also the good sides of the Pope. And so there is this keys to knowledge, and there are people who maybe you can bring something forth and enlighten maybe their options or their ideas about the subject, so then they can go on and become the high priest or the pope by themselves. So this is kind of my way. The Probably even more than the priest, because this one was much more aware in my life, like I kind of knew what I'm rebelling against. But I had a bloody issue with the high priestess as well. I just didn't get her. I didn't get her position in the tarot kind of sequence. I didn't get her various depictions with the Torah, with all of this kind of Isis. Like, I just didn't get her. And I think when I got her was more, it's actually was quite recently when I stopped projecting my kind of, or rejecting her, because I was rejecting her. I was just kind of going like, oh, you're annoying. You just like, what you want to, what are you? Like, I couldn't get it. And she was so passive aggressive to me in some ways. And I think only recently, through kind of working a lot with tarot and with my intuition, um, I saw her through Tarot de Marseille. Tarot de Marseille brought her back to normal for me, when she could become a grandmother or a woman that has a lot of knowledge to share. Um, because I wanted always to bring her back to like practical life. When I look at her, like, who the fuck are you, Are you a priest? You can't be a priest, because in my country there's no women who are priests. You look like one, but you're not one. So, like, where can I place her? And I think this kind of making a couple of these two, and him being this traditional male figure, kind of active, backed by tradition, spiritual leader, and her being more like this intuitive, but also dual. She's a two, let's not forget that. She is teaching about duality, and maybe in tarot, after coming after the magician, which is one, and which is this like single focused burst of energy and will to create, she becomes maybe this part of us which shows us the opposition that separates the spirit and matter, the will and, I don't know, let's say the laziness. So there is this white and black which comes with high priestess, and maybe she is this type of initiation which we have to go through to unite, and we kind of separate from the unity, and we going through all those steps to come back to unity. So now I think of her much more endearing and much more in a likable terms, but I did have big issue with her. I think one of my shadow cards was also this Nine of Cups, especially from the Rider-Waite-Smith depiction. I just always thought like, oh dude, you're so boring, like, and I also never felt like I will be ever that satisfied, like this. I don't know, I just never, it never sat with me, this like, okay, I'm happy. And this is also shadow, because this card to me right now, it's about being grateful, a similar energy to Four of Cups, but maybe this guy kind of realizes what he has, which is a nicer approach. Here we have a woman with a baby, like Mother Mary kind of type, and she's got animals and dogs she shares, with others. He's much more closed off, like it's mine, and and I ain't doing anything else, which is a kind of a fall. It could be a pity, like a fall just before the 10, because 9 is kind of like keep going, don't stop here. There's like it's not over yet. And so yeah, this card kind of gained when I started working with gratitude and with also being able to stop and actually enjoy what I have without this need to prove anything and to share everything with the world. Um, so yeah, Nine of Cups. That was a little bit of a journey. Another one was the Six of Cups. This card always made me feel like, am I giving enough? Am I sharing enough? Am I good enough? Or sometimes like, am I taking more than I should? Like it was hard for me to keep this balance. And it was always kind of made me feel guilty, like, oh my God, I have a lot and I'm not giving enough. I'm not. So this keeping this balance in giving and receiving, that was a big part of my lesson and learning throughout my life. Um, and also, I kind of always felt uncomfortable in any of these positions. I never wanted to be a beggar, but I also never felt comfortable with this person giving. And now I'm thinking I'm becoming much more comfortable with that person who can give without expecting to get back. So that's interesting. There's another one from AnnaK. But I also love this depiction from the Six of Coins from Tarot de Marseille, when you have this, stable center, so that you can actually give and grow and give, maybe receive from the top, give down to the bottom. uh, and this is a beautiful card which I love, that shows not so much this you poor or you rich, but also this, that to give you really have to have a strong center, and to give without this will only lead to Five of Cups, when you just collapse and have no sustainable energy to actually carry on, or you're not able to ask for help, or you're not able to give because you don't have it yourself. So that's something, this healthy balance of giving and receiving, and not feeling guilty, and not feeling insecure, or not feeling unworthy to give or to receive, because giving, you have to feel worthy to give as well. So that's interesting. And I think this that was a big one. Another one which is like on top of my shadow cards right now is the Four of Cups. And I love this depiction from the Rider-Waite-Smith, especially because it just shows this kind of boredom. To me, this is like not really appreciating what you have. So you have it, you're not that happy with it, or you just kind of got used to it, and not really, it's not turning you on, it doesn't give you this motivation to act. and you're not seeing the opportunities because you're so kind of like in the meh state. And I've been in the state recently over the last 2 months, and this Four of Cups feeling was definitely one of those which reminded me of going back to gratitude, of going back to seeing what I have and really kind of noticing those cups. And by noticing those cups, also noticing the one which is still being offered and it's still out there, but because I'm so kind of nothing is happening, but nothing is happening. Like, and I think boredom is something which I also, it's a little bit maybe in the shadow. I always feel guilty when I'm bored. I always feel like I should be doing something, that only stupid people are bored. You cannot be bored. And I think by through accepting boredom as a part of life, and boredom even taking it to the stage when you not even so much bored as just you don't put things out, you don't do much, you just enjoy the very fucking placid, regular, original way of days going by, and you're not doing too much creative things. For me, this is kind of scary. So this Four of Cups, even like to sit peacefully and do nothing, it's a bit like disempowering. So I have to really kind of watch this one. I think I'm still sitting with this one, and similar one is with the Four of Coins. But I think here, I think this posture of this guy, I was always afraid that when I get to a point when I achieve something, I will be wanting to like hold on to it too strongly. But also in this depiction, this is kind of like you have something to build from and move on. So in Tarot de Marseille, this is quite like stable energy, and that's what I kind of always keep looking at with the Six of Pentacles. That you have to build the stable middle, the center, so then you can expand up and down and to the sides. Without this, it's going to be difficult. So these two cards are very connected to me. And first, I think I had to go back and deal with this one and know what my strong points are, where my strengths lie, how can I kind of be sustainable in what I do, so then I can share with others and also be open to receive, because to receive, you really have to be vulnerable, and you have to be appreciative, and you have to be kind of secure, because sometimes you cannot even take when people are willing to give, or you take but this is connected to so many strange emotions, like you always feel like you have to give back, and I feel that very often, that I have to give back. So something like I'm still learning this beautiful balancing of those two energies, because I had issues with my dad. King of Cups was one of my least favorite court cards ever. I never had this loving, caring father with whom I talked for ages and who like swung me on a swing and stuff like this. So I'm kind of not really used to this energy in the male form. And throughout my life, of course, I met a lot of amazing males who I could associate with this king, and they helped me to acknowledge this and also to find it in myself. But for a long time, this king was in the shadows for me, and like I had to learn to be able to acknowledge my emotions and do it in an active way as well. Sometimes express my emotions, maybe even difficult emotions, in a kind of controlled way, not the drama queen way, but the King of Cups way. This is still a lesson. My recent stalker, Two of Swords, that connects with me to this Four of Cups feeling. It's like here you emotionally kind of closed off and you're not feeling the gratitude for what is, and here you're like mentally closed off and stuck between, or you're constantly kind of swinging between two options and not being able to feel like what's right for you, or what you really think. And often it's implied the need to withdraw and, like go within, but to me this card is like a jewel, like a jewel inside of you, like you fighting, you have two different options or versions of yourself, and there is no inner peace created. So there is like a internal war going on, and this cat was stalking me recently, and yeah, I was very connected to this. So as much as I'm kind of aware of this cat now, because for a long time I was going like, what do you want me to, what do you want me to tell me? What do you want to tell me? I don't understand you. Like, what are you showing me? And at the same time in my life, I was going like, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? I don't know. I don't know. Like I just couldn't kind of feel the flow, and I was blocking it through too much chatter, mental attitude, and stuff like this. So yeah, this Two of Swords. Do I have any other one which I want to talk to? Definitely the ones which Kelly and Maddox also mentioned, the King of Coins and Queen of Coins. As most of us, I did also struggle with abundance and, making my ends meet and earning the money that I want to earn, and also kind of creating stability and creating a material foundation so that I can just live the life which I want to live. And since I'm working for myself, it was also a lot of learning self-power and time management and discipline, how to deal with my finances. And yeah, I was always like, I never think of myself that I can always be focused so much on the material, because I'm a Sagittarius, and it's always like what's beyond that coin. And then with the Queen of Coins, like I always loved how she holds onto that coin, and I always felt like I never could be that queen. So these two are still like, I've changed so much, and my manifestation and the way I think now of money has changed dramatically, and it's wonderful. I'm really becoming really great at manifesting what I want, and this is connected to my, like witchy practice, to my spiritual practice, which I've been doing for a very long time. So that finally kind of hit the material plane, because before that it was in my head, I was thinking about it, I was learning about it, I was kind of thinking I get it, but right now I know I get it, and it is gotten to the point of this material realization, which is lovely. But for a long time, these two were like, fuck, can I? Also, I think the Knight of Cups, this is my shadow now. I fucking don't like him. I always think of him like somebody who is telling you so much beautiful words, singing serenades, but there is no action behind it. Like they sing to you, and then 3 months later they will sing to somebody else, or like, what is he bringing? Okay, I'm trying to appreciate his artistic ability, his charm, and all of this, but do I need him in my life? Okay, so this is definitely my shadow right now. I think that's it, my friends. I also, yeah, I did struggle, with the moon card as well, but love it now. And I also struggled, and still I think I'm struggling with temperance. Um, don't really know how to put temperance, except for the, like the balance. And I love this AnnaK depiction when she just like walks up the stairs, but she has to keep the water in the bowls which she's carrying. So I can see the need for balancing option. But this card by Golden Dawn is connected to Sagittarius, and I'm always thinking Sagittarians are like not really balanced. So maybe yes, for this matter, maybe like there's this need for balance. Also, this is one of the, this temperance. This is one of the virtues. So there is this need to be maybe balanced, or be able to be as skillful at balancing, and then you can nearly perform miraculous act of like pouring this one water from one jar to another without losing a drop of water. And also this, like, you know, the one foot in the like subconscious and one foot on the ground, like bringing these two forces together. And it's like an alchemical marriage. So it's an alchemy, it's art in Crowley's deck. It's very creative, it's active card, but it doesn't seem so active when you look at it. But then you have all those symbols which make it active. So there's a fire symbol, there's this sunny kind of amazing aureola around it, there's the red wings, there's the sun getting up behind the mountain. It's just this kind of like, you know, get and go, but in a balanced way. But this balancing act, it was always quite difficult for me in my life because I'm like very fiery. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'd love to see more video responses to this tag. It's a great idea. Thanks, Kellyanne, for inspiration, and I will speak to you soon, guys. Bye.